In the past few days, I've noted some of the achievements of a new Congress that's back to work on the side of the American people. We've passed bills no one ever thought Washington could touch. We've made reforms that had previously languished for years without result. Even more remarkably, we've often done so on a bipartisan basis. Consider just the bills I've mentioned already. A landmark bipartisan education bill that would take decision-making power away from distant federal bureaucrats in order to empower patients and teachers instead. The pundits said we'd never pass it. We did, 81-17. A breakthrough bipartisan highway bill that would finally provide state and local governments the kind of certainty they need to focus on longer-term road and bridge projects. After years of short-term extensions, this long-term highway bill passed the new Senate 65-34. A milestone bipartisan cybersecurity bill that would protect the personal information of people we represent, defeating cyber attacks through the sharing of information. The issue languished in previous Congresses, but this Senate passed it with 74 votes. Today, I'd like to mention another important bill this new Congress has passed. It's hard for many Americans to believe that human trafficking, modern-day slavery, could happen where they live, but it does, right here in our country. All 50 of our states. It happens in all 50 of our states. In Kentucky alone, the Commonwealth has been able to identify more than 100 victims since it began keeping relevant records in 2013. This kind of abuse often begins around the age of 13 or 14. The victims of modern slavery deserve a voice. They deserve justice. And after years of inaction, a new Congress was determined to give them both. Of course, there was an unforeseen impediment, to put it mildly, to getting this bill done. But success was possible because the new majority kept its focus on facts, on substance, and on good policy for the people who always remained our focus throughout the debate, the victims of modern slavery. The bill we ultimately passed with strong bipartisan support, the Justice for Victims of Trafficking Act, represents a vital ray of hope for the countless victims of modern slavery who need our help. Victims groups and advocates told us that this human rights legislation would provide unprecedented support to domestic victims of trafficking. They urged the Congress to pass it, and we did. The President signed it into law as well. It just proves that with unwavering compassion and unbowed determination, something Senator Cornyn knows a thing or two about, justice can prevail. I'm grateful to him and so many other senators for working so hard to ensure that it ultimately did. The Justice for Victims of Trafficking Act is another important step forward for our country. It's another example of what we can achieve in a new Congress that's back to work for the American people.